There's that whole old axiom of the role players always step up at home. So I guess that may have played a role, that they were more comfortable at home. But there's another part to this, and that is through this entire process, Monty Williams and his entire coaching staff have been trying to figure out what the best groups are to put on the floor together. It's understandable because you took not just Mikal Bridges, who had a phenomenal season, not just in Phoenix, but also when he went to Brooklyn, and Cam Johnson, two starters off the floor, but you had Jay Crowder not playing all season, and they were used to those three guys playing a huge amount of minutes at the forward spots. So all season long has been this project of trying to determine which groups work well, and I guess that's part of chemistry, right, on the floor. And so I give the coaches credit, because during the entire season, what they did do was they made sure that everybody was engaged. And in that room right now, they've got a lot of different types of players. It's not just like replicated, long athletic wings that you see in some markets around the NBA. You go to these teams, you're like, man, they've got like 8 of the same guy, right? But in this specific locker room, it's not like that. Everybody kind of has their own skill set, and I think that's made it even more challenging for the Suns coaches to figure out when and where to put guys into the lineup. So now they've inserted T.J. Warren and Terrence Ross. Those guys weren't playing against the Clippers in round 1, and now they weren't playing in Denver, but the last 2 games in Phoenix, they made a definite impact. Jock Landale as well, stepping in as a backup center to DeAndre Ayton, has been huge. And Cam Payne coming back from his injury was obviously timely, considering now Chris Paul dealing with the groin that he's going to be out with again tomorrow night for Game 5. I just found that out right before we jumped on this call. I was there, obviously, watched it from my own angle where we broadcast the games from, a little bit above the floor. My first emotion / hope was that he would not get suspended. I just want to get that clear and out there that, my hope was that Nikola Jokic is going to play and that the Nuggets are fully, a go for Game 5. It just is a better product. These teams have been putting forth their best efforts. It's been classic. It's been an amazing series so far, and I want it to continue. So, yeah, that was my hope. And I am a fan, by the way. In addition to being a broadcaster for the team for 15 years, I've been a fan of the Suns since I was 13 years old. It's been 30-plus years of cheering for this team. So, I can look at it from multiple angles. Part of my job is taking phone calls from fans after games at home. Then I do the play-by-play on the road, because we've got a 90-year-old Hall of Famer, Al McCoy, still calling the home games in his final season, his 51st as the voice of this team. But another element in my life, I'm surrounded by attorneys, okay? I'm married to one, I'm the son of one, I'm the son-in-law of one, and the brother-in-law of one, okay? They're all around me. And so my brain goes to what those folks were probably thinking, and I'm talking about the attorneys that are surrounding Adam Silver and the NBA in those offices today as they decided and deliberated whether or not to suspend Nikola Jokic for what happened with Matt Ishbia. And I want to take Matt Ishbia out of this conversation, not because he's my boss, but because I just think, in general, the idea of this play is it's a fan with the ball in his hands having it ripped out of his hands by a player. A player should never make any sort of contact with a fan. We all know this, okay? It should never happen. It can't happen because it leads to horrible things, and we've seen them happen in the past. It doesn't lead to anything good. And in fact, you could think about how everything went on last night and how lucky we are that it went the way it did. And I'm glad the fan got taken care of that reached out and tried contact with Nikola. I don't think he was in bounds either. That's out of bounds. But what I'm trying to think about is, how can the league keep something horrible like the Malice in the Palace, which I happened to be covering the Pistons at the time. I wasn't at that game. I was out of town for that game. But, yeah, that I have a lot of friends who were right in the middle of that. And that was horrifying. And if you haven't seen the documentary, go watch it. You'll see how horrifying that was. But last night could have led to something even worse. And I don't want to see that in the NBA. And the NBA certainly doesn't want to see that. So my mind is thinking those attorneys are right now probably telling Adam Silver, look, we've got to lay down a law here. By the letter of the law, he should be suspended. The other angle of this in my own brain, as I told you, I'm a fan, right? So I got to come clean with you, even though this is our first conversation as a group. I'm thinking in my mind, 15, 16 years ago, the Suns got completely screwed by the league when they had Amari Stoudemire and Boris Diaw get suspended for leaving the bench to try to aid their teammate who just got belted into the side, right? Into the scorer's table. That was that storyline. They got suspended. They end up losing to the Spurs, and Suns fans have never, ever forgiven the league for that. And I don't blame them, okay? Because I'm one of them. So these are all the emotions floating around in my head like, oh, well, maybe the Suns will get a solid out of this because that went down. This will all be karma kind of turning itself upside down. But it didn't. He got fined $25K is what I read. I'm fine with that. I didn't want him to be suspended.
Just me and my son, and I said, buddy, we're going to watch this race, and if our horse, the 8, wins, last winner being in 2021, the homie Medina Spirit, who we also had, by the way, and I said, then you get whatever video game you want. So even this morning, he woke up, and he was like, Daddy, I can't believe that we actually won the race. He was so excited.
Did he really?
Yeah. And I kind of
Your son's going to be a gambler.
I feel like a little guilty about it.
Yeah, your son's going to be a gambler.
I told him, I was like, don't worry, you were getting the video game regardless if we won the race
He
or
wasn't.
not.
He wasn't.
Nah, yeah, you're right. He probably wasn't.
He wasn't.
So we won a lot of money. Who would you rather have? And I'm not, like, take age out of it. Would you rather have Jokic in the playoffs or Devin Booker, as crazy as that sounds? The way that Devin Booker is playing right now.
That's a really hard choice.
I know.
Man, that's a really hard choice.
And it's hard because they play two totally different positions, but, I mean, it's positionless, I guess you could argue. I mean, Jokic gives you everything, though.
That's why I would say
rebounds.
Jokic. Just because he can, the flexibility of Jokic's game, he can maybe only give you 17 points, but he can still give you 17, 18 assists, right? Like, he can go crazy in terms of getting guys involved.
Yeah.
He can still rebound the ball. And then if he needs to score, he can. I feel like if Devin Booker's not scoring, he's not effective.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with that. It's just, it sounds like a crazy question because you have one guy that won back-to-back MVPs, and then up until the last month of the season, we thought he was going to win his third straight.
1,000%.
But Devin Booker, like this series, 35 in game 1, 47 game 2, then 36, and also look at the assist numbers, too. I think, like, I agree with you. I think their team, when he's running the point, and all that stuff a couple of years ago when they didn't really have a point guard the year before Chris Paul, I think that worked out for his benefit.
Yeah. You know this, too. Devin Booker, I think in his last 8 games, is averaging over 36 points per game, just over.
Yeah.
And the only other players to do that were, I think, Michael Jordan and LeBron.
And that's what I'm saying. The way that he's doing it so efficiently, he could score anywhere on the floor. He was 3 of 4 from 3 in the last game. The game before that, 5 of 8. Game before that on May 1st, he was 4 of 8. So he's shooting over 50% from 3 as well. And he's rebounding. He's averaging almost 5 rebounds in this series, too. 6 rebounds in this series. And over 9 assists. I mean, it sounds like a crazy question, but those guys right now. And the shot making, that I needed that yesterday.
Yeah, on
in the NBA
60%.
playoffs.
Yeah, so it's Booker is one of 3 players to average 36, 5, and 6 on at least 60% true shooting for any 8-game postseason stretch. The other 2 players who have done that is Michael Jordan and LeBron James.
Unreal
What he's doing. And defensively, he is giving you like very significant production there. 2-way player.
Yeah, I think so. I think Jaylen's been in a weird spot for almost the duration of his career. He came in as kind of a developmental guy, had to figure things out on the fly, was a rotation guy on an unexpected playoff team. Then the next year, the team was much better. He had a slightly bigger role because by the time they get to the playoffs, Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward were both out. Then the next year, Jaylen Brown was coming off the bench. The year after that, now Kyrie's gone, Kemba Walker's there, Hayward's back in full, and now you're into a position where he's the 3rd or 4th guy because he's behind Tatum. And it's always kind of been he's been shuttled off to the corner at those big moments in those games. And I think he, whether it's subconscious or knowingly or whatever, he kind of knows, like, hey, this is where I end up. And I think what he is saying and what he said in his postgame was, it's partly on me. Now, it's partly on the coaches, too. Let's drop some stuff to get him involved. Let's drop some stuff to get him some touches and get him going, because there's no reason this guy can dominate the way he does in the first 3 quarters sometimes and then just completely disappear in the 4th. And it's not a bad player thing. He just doesn't get the touches.
You did this, too. You said worst lineup in baseball, and they're playing the Oakland A's. And I said, oh, yeah, the A's are the worst lineup in baseball. And you say, oh, no, it's the Yankees. Since you've said that, 7-2 now. My under officially
Aaron
dead.
Hicks homer on a day I take the under on his hit.
Oh, I forgot about that, too. You tried to Joey Gallo.
He had a two-shot
Scott,
homer.
last year when Joey Gallo was in New York, granted he was hitting like 175 and striking out 3 out of every 4 at-bats, Trista on her show on WFAN slandered this man so bad and led this revolution against him. The poor guy couldn't even leave his apartment in New York. His mother was talking about it in an interview. He wouldn't even show his face on the streets.
First home run since September 23rd, 2022. Aaron Hicks.
You have a gift.
It's literally, I mean, you've been here with me.
Call out Wilson Contreras really quick. He got benched. He's now the designated hitter. I need a home run from him, plus 650. How do you do it?
What is Jaylen Brunson do when he has a 3? Is this it right here? He does this?
Yeah.
That's what I need to do when I wish something. And I go, just take the other side of everything I give out, like, with certainty.
That is unreal, though.
His first
And it's
homer,
Hicks. Yeah.
Hicks not only has a hit, he has a 2-run homer.
7-2. My under.
DFA Hicks.
Dead. Yep. DFA Hicks. Even
That was
gave
our
him a
clue
name.
right there.
Yeah.
We should have just pounced.
DFA Hicks 2-run homer.
I got it.
You know what? I'm going to be a prisoner on the moment right now. Give me the Phoenix Suns at plus 140 to take this series. Like, I really feel that the way that they have going, and yeah, I know it's just only 2 games. They both were in Phoenix. The 2 games that they won, but Devin Booker is like Bruce Lee on the court. I don't know what it is. He's flowing like water offensively. He's getting into his mid-range game has been phenomenal. He's like a master in that area of the court. And so him putting up 83 total points in the last 2 games on a true shooting percentage of 79.1%, that's insane. And I need you guys to really I know you guys understand that, but everybody watching this show, a true shooting percentage of 79.1 in 2 games, and he's made 20 of 26 jump shots, is something that you see on a video game. It's like he's playing at all rookie levels on 2K or something. So just kind of riding him and seeing what he's able to do offensively, and that allows Kevin Durant to get his spots and get his rest on the offensive end, puts me into position to say, hey, well, if Phoenix can go ahead and steal one in Denver, which they have to do in order to move towards the Western Conference Finals, then they can get that. And if they're going to steal one, it has to be Game 5 tomorrow night. So, yeah, give me the Suns to take the series at plus 140. I'm really feeling that.
That's usually when I bet most of my win totals and when I bet most of my futures. For, like, example, people keep asking me, what would you do in the NFC North? Would you play the Bears plus 325 now that it's there at that price? Or would you go with Green Bay plus 400 if you're looking for a value pick? And I'd answer no to either right now until after Thursday, because I feel like you could get better numbers on certain teams. Like, for example, Green Bay's schedule this year, I'll throw that out there because I know it off the top of my head. They get the Chiefs at Lambeau Field, even their home games. That's why I couldn't go over 7.5 wins on the Packers, because even their home games aren't easy winnable games anymore, because you have the Chargers at Lambeau Field and you have the Chiefs. So let's say you're getting the Chargers and the Chiefs the first 4 weeks, and you get 2 home games, you're going to get a much better price than plus 400 on Green Bay. You're probably going to get them like plus 700 if they get off to a slow start to the season.